Have you ever walked in a situation and thought, I know exactly what's going on here? Maybe you see someone buried in a pile of paperwork and you assume that they're stressed because that's how stressed people look like to you. Or maybe your coworker coughs and you're like, ew, you're getting sick, stay away from me, just because someone yesterday with a cold was also coughing. Or you get an email from your boss and you focus on the first line that seems critical because that's what you expect of them, completely overlooking them telling you, hey, congrats, you're Employee of the Month. So we do this all the time. Our brain detects patterns and we create these mental shortcuts called heuristics to jump to quick conclusions. Sometimes they're harmless, but other times they can be a little bit dangerous. And that's what I want to show you today using a nursing lens. So imagine you're a nurse beginning your shift in the ER. You open up the curtain and you have your first patient, Rio. He is 20, he's slumped on the bed, he's rubbing his temples, his hair is a mess, and he's squinting at the overhead light. His chief complaint is a new onset of head pains, light sensitivity, and some nausea. You instantly think, I know exactly this type of patient. They're college age, they're probably on the laptop 24/7, and the symptoms are very familiar to me. This is a classic case of a migraine, like, so easy. Here, you've engaged in representativeness heuristic, which is a mental shortcut that judges probability by comparing an event, object, or person to an internal prototype. So you are judging the probability that Rio has a migraine simply because he resembles your mental picture of a typical migraine patient instead of actually looking at clinical evidence. You then remember that a nurse previously had a very similar patient named Armand, same age, same symptoms, and he was diagnosed with a migraine and sent home with some ibuprofen. So now you're like, Rio definitely has a simple migraine. Like, these cases are so similar. So here you've engaged in availability heuristic, which is the tendency to judge or decide using information that is most readily accessible to you. So you are judging the probability that he has a migraine just because this similar case popped up in your mind very easily. Before discharging him with some ibuprofen, you ask him if he has any other questions or concerns. He tells you that his ankle hurts, he needs a few bandages for a scraped elbow, and you also notice some dirt on his clothes. All signs that maybe he fell. But you kind of brush past these and you refocus your attention to your initial diagnosis. He has a migraine. Nothing's going to change my mind. So here, confirmation bias is at play, which is that tendency towards finding information that aligns with our assumptions and beliefs. So you're only focusing on things that are going to confirm that initial belief and disregard anything else that might challenge your initial diagnosis. After a thorough assessment, he's diagnosed with a mild concussion. When you go to tell him this new finding, he tells you that he actually fell off his skateboard and hit his head. So now that ankle that hurts, scraped elbow, and the dirt on his clothes all make sense. So in Rio's case, we see how cognitive biases and heuristics actually lead to some clinical errors. So as nurses, it's important to critically assess our assumptions, pause before jumping to conclusions, and consider our alternative explanations. So there are a few strategies on how we can prevent cognitive biases in nursing. For instance, we can do team-based decision-making and use checklists to kind of make sure we're not jumping into any conclusions too quickly and we're not missing anything. We can also use simulation-based training to provide a safe environment to be aware of our biases and apply strategies to mitigate them. And we can actively manage our fatigue, as research shows that fatigue will increase the likelihood of you using biased decision-making. Now, I know that I'm saying heuristics are bad, but they're actually pretty helpful in certain circumstances. They can help us make rapid decisions, detect patterns, to then efficiently respond in high-pressure situations. Research also shows that it can help clinicians reduce their cognitive load, especially in the ER, as they have to make hundreds and thousands of decisions per shift. So in reality, heuristics are helpful until they're not. And when are they not helpful? When we rely on them completely. So as future clinicians, some of you guys in the crowd, put a pause on your heuristics and leave some room for careful assessments. Thank you.